Hello everyone, and welcome back to today's story. The Pu Quoc storm has never been this fierce. James has vanished, swallowed by a cryptic web of betrayal. But the real showdown takes place at the TNC mansion between James's father and Fat, the cornered bodyguard. Fat has returned not to escape, but to deliver the death sentence. In an earth-shattering moment, Fat gambled his own life and the secret of decades of crime to buy freedom for Diep and Nay. He chose life imprisonment in exchange for peace for James's family portrait. Now, Fat is isolated, facing the most brutal punishment, while James's father must accept this ultimate deal. Where is James? Will Fat manage to reveal the final clue before James's father silences him forever with the red envelope? Witness Fat's ultimate sacrifice. Hit like and subscribe right now so you don't miss the chapter where loyalty and the price of conscience are laid bare. The old dilapidated villa perched precariously on a cliff in Pu Quoc suddenly became the final fortress of love. Diep lawyer Quang and Little Nhi had arrived safely. They were waiting for James, the one who should have appeared early this morning, according to the daring counterattack plan. Time dragged on the clock hands, pointing to 10 a.m. Diep paced the living room, clutching Nay tightly in her arms. Worry began to creep in, replacing the resolve she had held the night before. Quang. Diep whispered, her voice trembling. It's past the agreed time. Why isn't James here yet? A private jet should only take 2 hours at most to fly from the city here. Lawyer Quang, despite his attempts to appear calm, couldn't hide his tension. He had rechecked the satellite tracker for the private jet arranged by Fat and only saw it land at the small Pu Quoc airport at 8:30 a.m. According to the plan, he's arrived. Diep, Quang said, trying to reassure her. The plane has landed. Maybe he's traveling by road to get here. The road from the airport to this place is quite isolated. But Diep's intuition was screaming. She knew James would never be late, especially in this dangerous situation. No, Quang. Something has happened. Diep insisted. If he made it to the airport, he would have called you or Thang. Call Thang right now. Quang immediately called Thang, who was at the farm playing the part of a failed protector and awaiting the safe signal. Thang, has James arrived in Pu Quoc? Quang asked the moment Thang answered. On the other end, Thang's voice was full of confusion. No, Mr. Quang, I'm trying to contact Fat. He's not answering. The van used for the kidnapping has also been found in a junkyard, but James isn't inside. Quang felt his heart seize up. What, Thang? Explain yourself. Fat lied. He didn't take James to the abandoned house in the mountains as planned. Thang practically yelled. After leaving the farm, the farm Fat took James in a different direction. I was tracking the GPS on Fat's backup phone, the one he used to contact me. He turned it off as soon as he reached a secret seaport. Had Fat betrayed them? The loyal bodyguard who risked his life to warn them finally turned his back out of fear of James's father's red envelope. Maybe it's just a contingency plan to throw James's father off. Diep tried to cling to hope. Impossible. Quang replied coldly. If it were a plan, Fat would have contacted Thang. Turning off the GPS, and heading to a seaport suggests he either fled or is carrying out an entirely different command. Fat chose personal safety and the red envelope. James, who should have flown to Phu Quoc, was now missing at some seaport. At the TNC mansion, James's father was in the conference room sipping coffee, waiting for news from Fat. He had sent a private helicopter to Haiphong Airport to pick up James. The satellite phone rang. It was the helicopter pilot. "Chairman, there's no one at Haiphong Airport." The pilot's voice reported trembling. "We searched everywhere. No James Nguyen was brought here." The shock made James's father drop his coffee cup. "What did you say, Fat call?" "Fat immediately." Fat did not answer. In less than 10 minutes, James's father used TNC's entire satellite and security system to check Fat's route. He discovered the truth. Fat had taken James to a seaport, but not Haiphong. And James was nowhere to be found. Rage erupted. James's father knew he had been tricked. That bastard Fat. That ungrateful mongrel. James's father roared. He dared to betray me. He no longer cared about honor or the marriage contract. His only goal now was to find James and Diep and punish Fat in the most brutal way. Quang and Diep realized the plan had collapsed. James hadn't arrived, and James's father would soon discover the Phu Quoc villa was Diep's hiding place. "His father will come here." "Diep?" Quang set his face pale. "He will use everything to find James and force you to reveal his location. The counterattack plan has failed, and we are now sitting right in the dragon's lair." Diep took a deep breath, clutching knee tighter, her eyes resolute. "James sacrificed his honor to protect me. I won't let his sacrifice be meaningless. Quang, you must take Nay. There's a small fishing boat behind the cliff. Take Nay on it and head east." "I must stay." "Absolutely not," Quang fiercely objected. "The plan was for James, you and me to face him together. Yes, the plan has changed." Diep choked out. "I have to stay. If I run, James's father will use every connection to find Nay. I am the one he wants. If I stay, he won't harm me because he knows James would never forgive him. I have to hold him here until you find James." Quang looked at Nay, who was sleeping soundly. He knew Diep was right. Diep was the final bait. With a broken heart, Quang followed Diep's instructions. He whispered an apology, then quietly carried Nay down to the boat. Right after the boat left, a large black helicopter appeared in the sky, hovering over the cliff. James's father had arrived. The sound of the rotor blades tore through the silence. James's father, his face flushed with anger, stepped out of the helicopter, followed by 2 bodyguards. He saw Diep standing alone at the villa's entrance, looking exhausted, but completely unafraid. "Diep!" James's father roared. "How dare you? You and my traitorous son dare to set a trap for me here, Chairman." Diep replied, her voice firm. "There is no trap here, only the truth." The truth," James's father sneered. "The truth is, your idiot James has vanished. Tell me, where is he? I know you and Lawyer Quang planned this." Diep looked him straight in the eyes. "I don't know where James is, Chairman. Our plan was for James to arrive here this morning, but Fat betrayed him. Stop pretending. James's father advanced closer. "Do you think I'll believe the words of a peasant woman? You used him to get all his assets, and now you're throwing him away. You're wrong." Diep shouted, tears streaming down her face. "James is missing, and it's not because of me. You are the only one who wanted James gone to force him into that arranged marriage. He's missing because Fat fears your red envelope." James's father was stunned. "How did she know about the red envelope?" "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, but his voice had faltered. "You know perfectly well," Diep said, pointing at him. "You threatened Fat, forced him to become a criminal, and now he's taken James somewhere because he's afraid you'll dispose of him. I swear to you, Chairman, if James is harmed, I will release every piece of evidence that Kwang and Thang have collected regarding TNC's illegal activities. I swear I will destroy your TNC empire." James's father raised his hand to slap Diep, but he stopped. He looked into the eyes of this small girl blazing with hatred. He knew she was capable of doing it. You will pay for this insolence." James's father gritted his teeth. "Seize her, but do not harm her. Take her to the helicopter. Fat has returned. 24 hours after James's father's helicopter took Diep back to the TNC mansion. The atmosphere in the villa was thick with anger, fear, and deadlock. Diep was confined to the luxurious living room, strictly guarded, but she maintained her defiant demeanor. James's father was in the library, his fury still raging. Fat, the loyal bodyguard of 2 decades, had betrayed him. His son James had vanished. And worse, the peasant girl Diep dared to challenge him with secrets about the red envelope evidence that Fat must have revealed. Just then, an old dusty car pulled up in front of the main gate. Fat stepped out of the car. He looked terrible. His clothes were disheveled. His eyes were darkly shadowed, and his face was haggard from lack of sleep. This was not Fat, the cold, always perfect bodyguard of the TNC chairman. He was a man tormented by his conscience and profound fear. Fat did not go around the gate. He walked straight into the house. James's father's personal bodyguards immediately blocked him. "How dare you show your face here, traitor Fat," the bodyguard snarled. "Step aside." Fat said, his voice hoarse, but his eyes were sharp as knives. "I need to speak with the chairman. I am turning myself in." Fat walked into the library. James's father was seated in a leather chair, holding a cigar smoke curling up heavily. He did not look up, but the air around him could freeze everything. "What do you think I should do with you?" Fat James's father asked, his voice low and dangerous. "You are the hunting dog I raised. You betrayed me, betrayed TNC, and made my son disappear." Fat was no longer afraid. He had moved past the sheer terror of knowing he had put James in danger. All he had left was despair. "Chairman, I came back here to confess everything," Fat said, kneeling. "I lost James. I betrayed you." James's father threw the cigar onto the floor. "Speak. Where is James? Who did you hand him over to? Are you trying to blackmail me?" Fat lifted his head, his eyes filled with suffering and regret. "I don't know, Chairman," Fat said. "I took him to the Mui Nay seaport. It's true, I turned off the GPS and canceled the plan to go to Pu Quoc. But it wasn't because I betrayed James. I did it because I knew you had started monitoring my every move after the kidnapping of Diep. Fat stood up, continuing to speak, his voice louder, echoing through the room. I used the warehouse at the seaport as a temporary hideout. I used my old phone to contact a trusted intermediary so they could get James out of the country safely to a place neither of us knows. I did it to protect James from you and that arranged marriage. Lies! James's father roared. No, I'm not lying. Fat was desperate. The next morning, I returned to the seaport to check. James was gone. My intermediary was gone too. I was tricked. Chairman, someone exploited my plan. I swear to you, I don't know where James is. Fat took out a small USB drive and threw it onto the desk. This is the evidence, Fat said. This is all the data I managed to get on the calls, messages, and location of the van. I've been searching for the past 24 hours. I couldn't find James. I failed. James's father didn't care about the evidence. He just stared at Fat. You think I'll believe this cheap confession? James's father sneered. You went missing for 2 days, and now you come back with a crazy story. Did you take the red envelope? Fat understood. To James's father, Fat's loyalty and his life were less important than the red envelope. I didn't take the red envelope, Chairman, Fat replied. It's still in your safe, but I did copy all the TNC files I've acquired over the past 20 years. It's stored on multiple servers. Fat looked directly at James's father, staking his life on this moment. Chairman, I swore loyalty to TNC, not to its wrongdoings. I have destroyed my conscience for the prohibitions, bribes, and accidents you forced me to commit. But I cannot harm James and Diep. Fat stepped closer to the desk. I don't know where James is, and I am facing a life sentence because of your red envelope. I am ready to accept my fate. But I beg you, Fat placed his hands on the desk. Kidnapping Diep is meaningless. She doesn't know where James is. She is an innocent mother. Release Diep. Let her and the baby go. Let them find James. They have nothing to do with this power struggle. If you keep them, you will only make James hate you more, and you will force me, Lawyer Quang and Thang, to go public with all of TNC's secrets. Are you threatening me? James's father bolted upright, his eyes flashing fire. No, I am making a deal, Fat said decisively. If you release Diep, I will give you all the files I possess. I will accept arrest and take responsibility for all the crimes you forced me to commit in the past. I will serve a life sentence in exchange for Diep's and James's freedom. James's father looked at Fat for a long time. He realized a terrifying truth. Fat was telling the truth. Fat genuinely did not know where James was, and Fat had become extremely dangerous because he had nothing left to lose. Keeping Diep offered no advantage except to drive James mad and push Fat along with the others into an open fight. Do you think I'm a fool? Fat! James's father said, his voice softer. Do you think I'll release the bait so you, James, and Lawyer Quang have time to ruin me? Let her go, Chairman, Fat said, repeating his plea. She is now the only one who can find James. If you harm her, you will never see James again, and you will lose TNC. James's father turned his back. Fat knew he was wavering. I will give you one chance, James's father announced coldly. You will give me that USB. You will destroy every copy of the files, and you will take me to the Mui Nay seaport. You will stay here under strict surveillance. I will verify your words. If James was not hidden by you, I will release Diep. But if I discover another lie, you and she will pay with blood. Fat nodded. He accepted. He had saved Diep at least temporarily, and he had staked his life to atone. Meanwhile, Diep remained under confinement. She knew nothing about Fat's return or his tearful request. She had only one thought: where is Nay? Lawyer Kwong had taken Ni onto the fishing boat, heading exactly east. However, Kwong knew it was only a temporary solution. He had to bring Ni to a safer place. Kwong had contacted Thong, who was at the farm, to prepare a new escape plan. Thang would use his secret network to charter a large vessel ready to take Nay and Kwong out of Vietnam. Kwong would use James's secret accounts transferred to Diep to cover all the costs. At this moment, Ni was safe on a small island where Kwong had hidden the little girl. But he knew James's father would soon use all his resources to find Ni. Deep in the TNC mansion felt the rising despair. She knew James might be safe, but she also knew Fat had betrayed him. "James, where are you?" Diep whispered, hugging Ni in her mind. "Please come back. They're losing their minds." As Fat and James's father were flying to the Mui Nay seaport, another shocking detail was revealed. In James's father's office, a personal assistant secretly checked the USB drive Fat had provided. He discovered a deleted message line on Fat's old phone. The message read, "Success. Put him on Ship F. See you in Macau." The personal assistant immediately reported to James's father. James's father turned to Fat, his eyes filled with malice and triumph. "You tricked me." "Fat," James's father said, his voice laced with danger, "you didn't hand him over to an intermediary. You sold him to my rivals." Ship F. Macau. That's the Trangia Corporation's vessel. Fat was horrified. He hadn't sent that message. "No, I knew nothing about that message. I was framed." Fat screamed, "Trangia. They want to use James as a bargaining chip with me, or to destroy me." James's father laughed maniacally. "We are flying to Mui Nay. If James is not there, you will die immediately." James's father and Fat arrived at the Mui Nay seaport. The helicopter landed in the deserted parking lot under the harsh central Vietnam sun. James's father ordered Fat to lead the way. The small seaport, smelling of salt and fish, was silent, as if nothing had happened. They searched the old warehouse Fat had used as a hideout. Inside, there was no sign of James. No evidence, just empty wooden crates. Nothing. James's father roared, turning to Fat. "You dared to fool me." "Chairman, I told you I was framed." Fat was desperate. "James was here. I swear that message about Macau was not sent by me." James's father looked directly at Fat. He didn't completely believe Fat, but he realized one thing: Fat was a failure, not the mastermind. The despair in Fat's eyes was real. At that moment, James's father received a call from his assistant. "Chairman, we just received an anonymous email." The assistant's voice trembled. It was sent from an untraceable IP address. The content, it says James is safe. He is learning a lesson about choices. If you harm Diep and Nay, his lesson will be TNC's destruction. Time is running out. James's father clenched his phone. He realized something terrifying. A third force was involved in this game, and they wanted James. And they knew everything about TNC. James's father hung up. He looked at Fat. "You were right, Fat." James's father said, his voice full of exhaustion and defeat. "It wasn't you. I was fooled. But you are still a traitor. You let James disappear, and you revealed the secrets of TNC." James's father turned to the bodyguard. "Take Fat back. Lock him up. I will deal with him myself." Fat knew that the death sentence awaited, but he had done what he needed to do. James's father returned to the helicopter, his heart filled with bitterness. He had won a kidnapping battle, but lost the war for control over his son. The enemy's goal was not money or TNC, but James. And they had used Diep and Nay as bait. James's father knew he couldn't risk it. If he kept Diep, that mysterious force would release the evidence and destroy his empire. He had to concede. Immediately upon returning to the mansion, James's father went straight to Diep's room. Diep was still sitting there, resolute and tired. "You won, Diep," James's father said, his voice dry. Diep looked at him in surprise. "I searched for James. There is no trace," James's father stated. "I don't know where he is, and I don't want to know. But I know someone is watching me, and they are using you and Nay to threaten me." James's father placed an envelope on the table. "These are the papers canceling the entire arranged marriage contract. It is effective immediately. I will never mention it again." Diep could barely believe her ears. In return, James's father continued, his eyes cold. "You will disappear. I will never interfere in your life or needs. You will not be followed, not harassed. You have all the assets James transferred to you. You can return to the farm or go anywhere. But in return, you must live as if James Nguyen never existed." James's father looked at Diep, his words like a curse. "You are not to contact lawyer Quang, not to contact Thang. You are not to search for James. You must forget this war. If you violate this even once, I will use everything I have to destroy Nay and turn you into a criminal." "What about Fat?" Diep asked, her voice barely audible. James's father sneered. "Fat has received his lesson in betrayal. Your business is to look after your own life." Diep knew this was the only chance. Freedom in exchange for oblivion. She couldn't risk Nay's safety for a fragile hope. "I agree," Diep said, taking the envelope. "I will take Nay away. I will live my life. But Chairman, I will not forget James. I will wait for him." "You can wait for whatever you like," James's father said coldly, "but don't let me know." An hour later, lawyer Quang secretly brought Nay back. The moment Diep hugged Nay, the little girl, back in her mother's arms, Diep knew she had made the right decision. A few days later, Diep and Nay returned to the orange farm. Everything was the same. The golden sunlight, the scent of ripe oranges, and the peace. But for Diep, the world had changed. Lawyer Quang and Thang came to say goodbye. "James sent me a message. Diep." Quang said, his expression full of meaning. The message was just one photo. a photo of the family portrait. Diep looked at the photo on Kwang's phone. She understood James's intent. He still loved her, and his vow remained. "He's safe, Diep," Kwang reassured her. "He's managed to escape all surveillance. Just follow the agreement. Let his father think he's vanished forever. This is the only way he can have time to work without interference. And fat." Diep asked, tears streaming down her face. Kwang sighed. James's father publicly declared Fat a traitor, accused him of embezzlement, and had him arrested. But there's no legal proof. Fat accepted his fate to protect Nay and clear the way for James. Thang, who had been silent, placed a satellite phone on the table. "This phone is untraceable. I've left my number in Kwang's. Never use it unless something is truly dangerous. Or when James returns." Diep hugged Kwang and Thang one last time. This farewell performance was too painful. Afterward, the orange farm returned to absolute stillness. Months passed. Diep lived a simple life tending to the farm. She tried to keep her promise to live as if James had never existed. She never mentioned his name. She never opened the satellite phone. She only looked at the photo of the family portrait hung in her bedroom. James's father kept his word. No one from TNC came near the farm. He had lost James and Fat. He was humiliated by the mysterious force. TNC continued to operate, but under the leadership lacking in air, the empire began to show cracks. Diep had gained peace, but she paid a heavy price, living in an unfillable void. One day, Diep was watering the orange trees when a luxurious black car pulled up outside the gate. A middle-aged woman, elegantly and aristocratically dressed, stepped out. Her face was full of sorrow and worry. The woman looked at Diep, then at Nay playing nearby. "Are you Diep?" she asked, her voice gentle but authoritative. "I am. The mother of the man my son is set to marry under the contract." Diep was stunned. The contract had been canceled. "Ma'am, that contract has been canceled," Diep stammered. The woman shook her head sadly. "No, my daughter is still preparing for it. James's father, he only told you it was canceled to protect you. But James is still bound, and my son sent me here. He wants you to know." The woman leaned in her voice a whisper. "James is not missing. He is being held at a secret base of his father's overseas. He is being pressured to sign the official marriage contract within the next month. And it wasn't James's father, but my son, who sent the fake message about Macau." Diep looked at the woman, her world spinning. The peace was just a lie. James was being held captive. Why would this woman's son want Diep to know the truth, even though he is preparing to marry James? Is this a warning or another trap? Will Diep break her vow to James's father, activate the satellite phone contact, lawyer Kwang, and Thang, to launch the final battle to rescue James? There is only 1 month left. Can Diep save James, who is not missing, but imprisoned? Hit like and subscribe to follow Diep as she breaks her vow and begins the operation to save the heir.